Shalom, Yashrala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to do this here video in response to this here comment I got on one of my videos a couple days ago, dealing with Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7 about the curses falling upon our enemies, which are, Esau, starting with Esau mainly. All right, now the comment came from Retribution Descent 2 days ago. It says, it may not happen, but I hope I am blessed enough to see these curses manifest on the other nations. And, I'm hoping that he's talking about that, not the fact that the prophecies, he says it may not happen. Speaking about the prophecies, like I'm going to go into in this here video, the prophecies are already happening. All right. The flip side to that, what they're probably saying is that it may not happen in their lifetime for them to see it. All right. Now, if that's the case, look, we already in these times right now where these things are happening. All right. I'm going to show, let me go through a couple topics real quick. All right. You have the opioid crisis in America, man. All right. This is like as a counter to how they brought us the crack and the heroin epidemic back in the 70s and the 80s and into the 90s. All right. And they was destroying Jake. He had the war on drugs. Now look at this. All right. Majority of these people are Edomites. Look at them. All right, look at this dude strung out over here. Look like he living in the projects now. All right, it seems like, hey, trading places, man. All right, we woke up one day and it's now all of a sudden, Jake is starting to somewhat come up in the society and clean themselves up. You know what I'm saying? Getting jobs or whatever, whatnot, not just strung out. You don't see. It's like when I was a young kid, man. This is what deterred me from like doing crack, cocaine, or anything like that, bro. I was born and grew up, in Atlanta, Georgia, man. All right, so out there, especially when I was growing up out there, there's a lot of homeless people, man. That was when they still had the projects and shit out there, like Bowen Homes and shit. Like, and if you know anything about Bowen Homes and shit, that was like a big ass compound. You know what I'm saying? And that shit was, matter of fact, look up the music video, Bombs Over Baghdad from Outkast. When Andre 3000 wake up in the morning and he's in that apartment building, and then they run out those apartments. He's running through the field and shit like that, and then they driving that little caravan of cars down the street. Those apartments over there, that's a huge complex, man. That was Bowen Homes, which none of those projects are still there in Atlanta. But nevertheless, if you would have known about that side of town where it's not called Bankhead no more, but if you would have known about Bankhead back in the day, Simpson Road and all of that, and all Simpson Road and all those places like that over on the west side, man, you would already know, man. Even the south side was bad. That's where I grew up, on the south side, ONAT, College Park, East Point, shit like that, you know what I'm saying, which was a little bit better than being on the west side. All right, the east side was messed up too, out there, Zone 6 and shit, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, I was able to see going downtown and shit, man. You be at the red light, we call them J's or junkies, right? Like, oh man, you let the J come, I'm about to go pay the J $5 to go wipe down my car real quick, go get a car wash for $5 because the junkies, they trying to get their drugs or whatever, whatnot, man. All right, not saying that they all gone or whatever, whatnot, but look, you don't see them as heavy out there as you used to see them no more, man. Nowadays, you see the people that strung out, the people out there on the side of the roads, homeless with their little signs. It's these Edomites, man. The people out here strung out on these drugs is Edomites. And really, Jake can't really afford these damn drugs. Like going back into the cocaine situation, right? There's this dude named Freeway Ricky Ross, right? The real Rick Ross, not the rapper dude. Talking about I'm Big Meech, Larry Hoover, not that guy, but there's a real person who's real. His Rick Ross, Freeway Ricky Ross. He is, some people deem him the crack king, right? They say that he was the dude who invented crack, but he wasn't. It was actually invented in UCLA, all right? And he'll even tell you that he learned the process of how to cook crack from somebody else, but it wasn't openly known. He was the one who popularized it, all right? But he was saying that when he started selling cocaine, all right, this was a celebrity drug. This was like you had to be a celebrity to be doing cocaine to afford cocaine, right? Jake wasn't going out there buying up no cocaine. The shit was too expensive for them, right? But it wasn't until they found out how to cook crack that they could basically be selling crack for a hell of a lot cheaper. And that's when it started really affecting Jake like that. But really, back in those times, it was a lot of the movie stars and so on and so forth. But when the crack came in, the crack epidemic came in, it started destroying our neighborhoods. This is where you get the term crack babies from. And your mama or your dad's a crackhead or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? This is what happened to our people, through this here, how do I say, atrocity, all right? Because this was all engineered and geared and aimed at you Israelites, all right? But now, all of a sudden, the tables are changing, all right? September 11th happened. Then eventually America went over to Afghanistan, which had nothing to do with 9/11. Same with Iraq. But they went over to Afghanistan to basically take over the poppy fields, all right, which they can, from poppy fields, I believe they can get opium. And opium is how they make heroin, right? So what they was doing with this was they was bringing it over here in America, and they had the big pharma companies, these pharmaceuticals and things like that, all right? When you look at these people that's on the opioid crisis, all right, or heroin, these heroin addicts, all right, Jake be saying heroin, but nevertheless, when you see these heroin addicts and stuff like that, majority of these people didn't start out just like, yo, I just want to be fucked up on drugs and go that route. We finna party. You go into these cases, the majority of these cases happen because why? They sustained some kind of injury, or maybe they got their wisdom teeth pulled out and they was given a painkiller. Now with Big Pharma, they was out there just trying to make money. But then also them being racist, this was, I forgot her name. I think Soledad O'Brien told this story. It was like, this is the one time that racism actually helped our people out. Because Esau was being racist with basically the distribution of prescription drugs. And he was like, look, if we give Jake these drugs, first of all, Jake ain't got the same tolerance, pain. This is what Esau is saying. Jake don't have the same tolerance level as Esau do. He ain't in pain like how we in pain. So he don't really need the painkillers, but we do. We need the strong stuff. That was strike one. Strike two, they said, well, we know Jake ain't nothing but a bunch of niggas, so these niggas gonna take the pills and go sell it on the street for a profit. That was strike two. You see what I'm saying? And three, they was just like dismissing a lot of our cases whenever we was bringing them up. Oh, you just, it'll go away or whatever, whatnot, But nevertheless, they was over-prescribing this, and plus they didn't have the insurance or the money to be able to afford these drugs, right? So, again, what happened was they over-prescribed these to make money to these Edomites, all right? Edomite go and get his tooth pulled or whatever, whatnot, and they gonna give him these opioids. What is that pill called? Not Xanax. Oh, I don't know if Xanax. Xanax might be one of them, but there's another one. Oxycontin. Oxycodone. This shit is synthetic heroin, all right? Now, synthetic means basically it's like you done created this shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like you got, for instance, you got, like, not saying this is lawful or nothing like that, but just as something you can understand. You got crab legs, then you got synthetic crab legs, or how you know it as imitation crab legs. You see what I'm saying? They created it to be like that have the so-called same purpose. Got the same taste or whatever, whatnot. You think you eating the same shit. So instead of we giving you the so-called the street version of heroin, we're going to give you a synthetic one we done made and took out this and took out that, or, basically GMO'd it out, right? So they started out giving them synthetic heroin in a medical form, but then what? Their prescriptions ran out. They couldn't afford these drugs. All right, so what they do, they resulted to going into a cheaper version of it, the street level version, which is basically just heroin. All right, so this is how these people became junkies. All right, this is why you have this opioid crisis that's going on, right? Well, ultimately, it's the Most High putting these curses on them. All the things that they done to us is going to be done unto them double. But their government did this to destroy our people. But now their government also did this and is destroying their people. It's coming back to bite them in the ass. All right. So, I want to touch on this one too. America's opioid and heroin, K2 fentanyl epidemic. Right. So, hey, now this is just my synopsis of this. Like with the K2 situation. K2 is like fake ass weed. Really, Jake will just be smoking weed. He ain't really worried about trying to pass no damn drug test to get a job, because Jake really on just such a low level. He would rather sit there and smoke weed all goddamn day than actually get a better job. All right. But Esau, all right. And there's other things behind all that I ain't getting into. That's some racist ass shit. You know what I'm saying? Because just as a side note, you know what I'm saying? Marijuana stay in your system 30 days. You know what I'm saying? And when you smoke marijuana, it give you effects. Like you can see it in people's eyes, the smell or whatever, whatnot. All right. Now, when that's what they claim to be a so-called black people drug. When you do these so-called white people drugs, cocaine, that shit stay in your system 3 days. It's odorless, more or less to say. I don't know if it's really got an odor, but it's not like you're going to sit there and sniff some cocaine and everybody going to smell it. You know how Jake be walking in the damn room, be smelling like he goddamn smoked the whole pound. You know what I'm saying? That ain't going to happen with cocaine, man. All right, and I don't know about, you might be, some people be tweaking the fuck out. I was going to say your eyes and shit might not be all red and stuff like that, but it's a lot harder for you to basically look at somebody unless they just way strung the fuck out, you know what I'm saying, versus somebody smoking weed, because you're going to smell it on them, you're going to see it on them, you're going to be like, yo, why your eyes all red or whatever, whatnot, And another thing, when you at these jobs or whatever, whatnot, Esau could get caught with something or whatever, whatnot, and they'll tell you, you got to go take a drug test in 3 days, or you got to take a drug test and so on and so forth. So what? They don't really have to so-called go through withdrawals, go without doing their drugs or whatever, whatnot. They can just 3 days, they clean, they can go test, and then they can get back on their drugs, man. And this is something crazy, because I remember at my last job, I didn't realize how many fucking people really be doing cocaine and shit like that, man. Like, yo, all these people, these was all like Edomites, right? All with good jobs, all making decent paychecks and everything like that. And I'm just like, wait a minute, like, you out on break or whatever, whatnot, and then they tell you a little, bullshit joke or whatever, like, yeah, I'm about to go do this and go do that and shit like that, and you just be thinking maybe they just was some little bullshit, just whatever, you know what I'm saying? But then they just keep making these jokes over and over and over again, like, cuz, y'all be doing that shit for real? Like, hell yeah, man, we finna go home and do some cocaine right now. I'd be like, y'all motherfuckers is crazy. But then you think about it, you be like, wait a minute, Jake is out here without all these jobs because Jake don't want to stop smoking weed, which is on Jake. I'm not justifying none of that shit, but nevertheless, all these Edomites got all these good jobs, but y'all really on some cocaine and shit. That's way worse, man. You know what I'm saying? That shit is way worse for your ass. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never heard nobody stealing nobody goddamn VCR, running up in somebody's mama house to go buy no goddamn bag of weed. You see what I'm saying? But hey, just what these J's be doing, these junkies be going out here doing some dumb shit like this, man. Selling their body. You ain't never heard of no woman goddamn selling her body to go get a goddamn bag of weed, man. You see what I'm saying? But look, these are the curses falling upon these people, man. This is what's going on. So, that's why I'm not sure why they created this K2 and shit like that, but that was just something that happened. I was looking into this shit one day, and I was like, wait a minute. This shit don't show up on drug tests? Oh, it's like fake weed? Why the fuck is these people buying this? Why they ain't buying that? Oh, because they got these, these Edomites, they catch cases, all right, and then they wind up either getting long probation sentences. They never really go to jail for shit, right? So they can do these things and just never get caught up. Jake don't really know about no shit like that. You see what I'm saying? But what, these people do this, all right? Fentanyl, right? Fentanyl, it was funny because America basically hit China with the opioid wars back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So this is all coming back full circle. All right. Now, one of the major exporters, or one of the major places where America imports or not import, but where it's shipped from to America, because I don't know that they massively import it, but they'll ship it over here, comes from China. All right. So, and a lot of the fentanyl and meth and all that stuff is being manufactured in Mexico, but all of the supplies and the things to make it is coming from China. All right, so what? All these things falling back on them, and who's the number one recipients of this shit? Fentanyl. Like, yo, I don't, man, bro. I don't be fucking around in no streets and nothing like that. But that shit, I'd probably laugh my ass off if I heard Jake. Like, hey, cuz, you got some fentanyl, cuz? Like, some what? The fuck is fentanyl? Motherfucker, I gotta go and Google search this shit to find out what the fuck fentanyl is and what. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to speak on it too much because I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if that's that shit that's a horse tranquilizer or what, but they got some shit where these Edomites be taking horse tranquilizers. I'd be like, y'all niggas is strung out. But anyway, this shit is hilarious to me. But nevertheless, this is going back into the scriptures about one people should be stronger than the other one. All right? We'll get on another topic. The reproduction rate here in America. All right? Surprising thing about the declining U.S. birth rate. Population bombs in low fertility countries. Why America's slumping birth rates could create an economic probably bubble. Falling birth rates can lead to an economic decline. Why? Because who the one who got all the damn money here in America? But guess what? If y'all stop having babies, who y'all gonna pass all y'all shit down to? It's inevitable it's gonna all go over to Jake, basically. You see what I'm saying? And just like there's another thing why they tripping about this and they want to raise. Really, they trying to stop abortion now because the curse is falling upon them. They created that with Margaret Sanger. Really, Bill Gates' father, all right, is the one who created all this shit. And Margaret Sanger was the one who was like the poster child for all this and was starting to implement this. But really, it was Bill Gates' father who created all of it, the Planned Parenthood and all that shit, the idea for Planned Parenthood and so on and so forth. And basically, he employed Margaret Sanger to come out with all this shit, And another reason why Bill Gates is behind the whole vaccines and shit, he didn't get his start in computers and shit like that, man. You go back in his family, that's what they used to do, man. All right, but nevertheless, this is why abortion is one of the big topics on the voting shit, because they don't really care about abortion because it was geared towards Jake, but Jake ain't really they still getting abortions like crazy. But in reality, these Edomites is trying to be like Jake now. They getting knocked up or whatever, whatnot, and they, want to work on their careers and their colleges because of feminism that these Edomites pushed. They pushed that on our women, but now their women are falling for it. Their women now want to be independent. So guess what that is turning into? You searching for your career and all these things like that. These women are waiting until they get 30, 35 years old to start getting pregnant. First of all, we already know from just looking around that Edomite women don't reproduce like Israelite women, man. All right? All you got to go do is go grow up around so-called Mexicans. All right? So-called Mexicans, they do it basically the right way. They start getting pregnant at a young age. All right? That's when your body start telling you that that's time to get pregnant. Why are you having a menstrual cycle? You see what I'm saying? Why are you having these hormones or whatever, whatnot? Why are your breasts, developing, so on and so forth, so your body can carry and maintain and provide for a child. That's the time you're supposed to be having children. But again, in this society, they pushing you off. Oh, you got to wait till you're 18. Then after you're 18, you go to college for about 4 or 5 years. Then you got to go get a good job and work your way up the ladder. Now you're 35 years old, and it's harder for you to have babies. But these was things that they was pushing out to our women to destroy our household. Women, go to college, get a better job than your man. It's going to separate the household. Wait till you get older. Hopefully, you'll be less likely to have children, so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying? All these things start coming into play. All right. But now that these Edomites are taking these courses of action, it's all falling back on them. A lot of these women are not having babies. All right. Are not able to have babies. All right. They're getting older and older and older. And you hear a lot of these women's stories. They're telling you, I decided to go after my career first. All right. But then they get into where they're getting way later in life, and their reproductive system isn't working as well. Same with the Edomite male. All right. Their sperm isn't as strong as it used to be. All right. Again, look at Jake, man. Jake be getting pregnant all the damn time. That's almost like a bad saying about Jake. Shit, she got 5 babies by 4 baby, like 5 babies by 4 baby daddies or some shit like that. You see what I'm saying? Or whatever, whatnot. But yet she fertile. She's constantly reproducing. All right. You know what I'm saying? But at the end all be all, and even in our poverty and things like that, we still maintain, we still raise our children up, man. I know with my generation, the majority of us all grew up in poverty, eating ramen noodles and raviolis and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The first time your ass went out to eat as a restaurant, your ass had your own job, your own car. You was probably out on your own. And the first restaurant you probably went to was like an Applebee's or a Red Lobster, and you thought you was doing good. Not, you shouldn't be eating Red Lobster, but growing up how Jake is in the world, you know what I'm saying? He'd be like, oh, we balling, because we get to go to Red Lobster or whatever, whatnot. Like, motherfucker, that ain't balling. You know what I'm saying? But see, we didn't know no better because we was always in poverty. All right. So I'm gonna go from here to death of despair. All right. This is another one you should look into. All right. They'll tell you about all the different ways they was dying from overdoses, suicides, which these are being counted a little different, and the numbers are actually a lot higher than what they're reporting. All right, because they'll count, let's say, a suicide, right? They're like, well, really, suicides are basically just people that's overtly killing themselves. They took a gun and blew their head off. They hung themselves, so on and so forth. However, somebody who decided to get in their car and do 100 miles an hour down the interstate and run into a goddamn wall, homeboy just had a car accident. We're not gonna count that as a suicide because these numbers are already are skyrocketing. You see what I'm saying? Or somebody who decided to drink themselves to death. All right, that's not going to be counted as a suicide, but in reality, that's just a slow death. All right, now I'm going to play a little bit of this here video, which is going to go into all that. Now, I did this here a video on this a while back. A couple of my videos on this here topic then got strikes on there or whatever, whatnot, but nevertheless, I'm going to try to keep it a little clean or whatever, whatnot, and not go too far into it, but nevertheless, I'm going to play this piece of this here video.
Yours, get out and go to work and do that yourself.
Most of the men aren't working.
Marcy Connor, a nurse specializing in substance abuse, has a close-up view of the downward spiral.
All of a sudden, you lose your job. So here's a male with no identity. He's not working. He's supposed to be a provider for his family. He can't even do that.
Wait a minute. Wasn't that Jake? Ain't that Jake now? Ain't Jake, having to hustle some shit on the side because he can't get no job, can't get no employment nowhere, and he got child support to pay? All right? He got to live at home with his mom or live with his homeboy or whatever, whatnot, staying on the couch in the trap house and shit like that, and still provide for his family, man. That ain't no excuse. Jake be like, shit, I got to get it how I get it, bro. Shit, I got to do what I can to get by, bro. We got to get by. Jake ain't killing themselves over this, and this is where we came from the beginning, man. You know what I'm saying? When we was slaves, we was somebody's property, man. We didn't have shit. They was taking our wives away from us and raping them in front of us, all right, separating our entire families, man. You didn't own your own fucking self to provide for you or your family. That was in slavery, and it got way worse after that. Look at us now. They gunning us down, gunning our children down, and we can't do nothing about it, man. You the last one hired and the first one fired, man. You the one that's always, you the scapegoat, man. Everybody always blaming shit on you, man. You can't never be good enough to be, the worst thing you could be here in America is a so-called black man or a Latino man or Native American man here in America, man. Because just your existence alone is contrary to this here society, man. You already wrong just by being here, man. There's everything that you do is already wrong. You speak too loud. You got too much bass in your voice. You too charismatic. You got, you too this and you too that. You know what I'm saying? You overworking. You doing too much work. You making me look bad, whatever, whatnot. The only thing we good here for is servitude. All right, and we can't even complain about our atrocities or the things that's going on with us. Oh, you guys are just complaining. There's no racism in America. There's no injustice in the law system. Come on, man. But all these things are going down. But homegirl just said she's making this excuse for these Edomites. So why they killing themselves? That's no excuse. The only thing that we can say to this is was written about it in the book of Genesis chapter 25, saying that one shall be stronger than the other one. All right.
So all of a sudden you lose your job. So here's a male with no
Let me go back.
Saunders still wants to work.
That's not somebody else's responsibility. Take care of the family. It's supposed to be yours. Get out and go to work and do that yourself.
Most of the men aren't working.
Marcy Connor, a nurse specializing in substance abuse, has a close-up view of the downward spiral.
All of a sudden, you lose your job.
How many Jake men have children out there, can't find jobs or whatever, whatnot, but not saying you're supposed to be celebrating Christmas, we just talking about the masses, the 2/3 of our people in the society, all right? How many Christmases are going by and birthdays are going by where you can't get your child nothing? Child just graduated from high school or whatever, you can't get your child nothing because, shit, you so far behind on everything, you know what I'm saying? And you had to work on their graduation day. You couldn't even be there, just be able to send that little child support so your ass don't go to jail, all right? So, hey, you talking about you losing jobs, you ain't got none, can't provide for your family. Welcome to Jake's world, man. But look, the tables are being turned now, all right?
So here is a male with no identity. He's not working. He's supposed to be a...
Psalms 83, man. We're going to take the name of Israel from being in remembrance. They ain't going to remember who they are. We don't know who the fuck we are. We don't know who we was before slavery or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying, until this truth came around, all right? We don't have nothing to go back to. We can't look at nobody in history that was prominent that did anything good that looked like us, all right? So this is a downfall on us. Give me 1 second.
provider for his family. He can't even do that. So that low self-worth, along with that hopelessness feeling, we start seeing tremendous depression. So how do you relieve depression? You can relieve it with drug use, alcohol use, or suicide.
Connor's own husband.
You see what option was left out? Praying unto the Most High. You see what I'm saying? These people are weaker. They don't have the same way of going. And you're like, oh, if I can't make it with y'all giving me everything, because remember, everything was given unto them. These people have servants. You see what I'm saying? Yo, they was never on a even playing field when it comes to competition. All right. So now they're starting to lose that little bit of upper hand. All right. And now they just like, well, what's left? Drugs, alcohol, and suicide.
Husband died of alcohol poisoning.
Poured alcohol.
Listen to how her people died.
So how do you relieve depression? You can relieve it with drug use, alcohol use, or suicide.
Connor's own husband died of alcohol poisoning.
Poured alcohol down his feeding tube.
Damn, he poured alcohol down his feeding tube. So homeboy was already on the feeding tube. This motherfucker that lost his job, couldn't provide. He was sick. His wife had to probably wipe his own ass or wipe his ass. Homeboy on the feeding tube. What do you decide to do? You say, fuck it, I can't live like this no more, man. And they wound up pouring goddamn alcohol down their feeding tube. But how many Jakes is walking around from being shot, stabbed up? They got a bag tied to them in a wheelchair, decrepit, whatever, whatnot, still out here pushing, man. You know what I'm saying?
Till he died.
The husband of best friend Becky Manning also killed himself.
He blew his head off.
Joseph Manning had been a truck driver for 30 years.
And then he retired at 55, which then gave him nothing to do.
Hey, what's funny is actually I seen this video on a longer clip, and she was like her husband died or whatever, whatnot, and the guy, the hostess, is, well, how did he kill himself? That's where the video started off. He shot himself in the head, like she was trying to avoid that, but hey, that's the reality of it, man. The curses are falling upon your enemies right before your eyes.
He started getting depressed, and then we would go to different doctors, and then they would just try different drugs. And those never worked because they caused side effects, which made him feel worse about himself.
Weight gain.
Yes, he gained weight.
Libido.
Absolutely. Where I'm worthless.
Esau getting it on all sides, man. Getting depressed, sex life going down, can't please his wife, can't provide for his wife, being worthless, man. They taking your power away from being a man, bro. You don't have no purpose no more, man. All right, you got them it's like you taking a shark and or a whale, putting his ass in a small goddamn tank, man. You took his purpose. He can't swim no more, man. Or a dog or a bird to put it in the cage, they can't fly no more. Like Cat Williams said, I don't think I'm a lion. I don't even roar like a lion no more. You try roaring, they be like, oh, we want to take pictures. Like, I'm a motherfucking zoo animal. I'm not the king of the jungle. Don't nobody fear me. This is what's going on here, man.
I can't be here for my wife,
So when you hear about the end of work, the jobs like truck driver jobs, which
Right.
will be replaced by
Absolutely.
self-driving cars, you think,
What are these men going to do? Yeah.
In this next generation, I think you're going to see the death rate continue to climb.
nice.
And like I said in that, hang on 1 second. Like I was saying, in the hang on one second. What's kind of funny is Jake just rolled up. You know, I'm in a little park or whatever. Jake just rolled up to use the bathroom or whatever, whatnot. Issacharite, right? He just rolled up, looked like he just got off of work or whatever, whatnot. And, you know, he's kind of stressed out in his little situation he's probably going through. But homeboy said, hey, man, you got any drugs? You got any drugs? I'm like, nah, man, I don't got any drugs. But, hey, look, whatever shit homeboy got going on, he going to keep going on with his shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily the same thing where he depressed, like, whatever, whatnot, man. And he's, like, the most overworked people here in America, man. All right? And, the you know, undervalued over a whole lot of things, man. All right? But nevertheless, back into the video, they cut some things out of this here video. I'll probably, I'm going to play a little bit more, but, they cut some things out. The second lady that was talking about her husband pouring the alcohol down her feeding tube, it wasn't just her husband that killed himself. Her son killed himself. Her brother killed himself. And the first lady who said her husband blew his brains out, it was him and 4 or 5 of his co-workers. They all wound up killing themselves, man. So it was just nothing but all these dudes wound up killing themselves, man, because why? They was losing jobs, all right? So we done went on way too long with that, but let me get into these scriptures. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, and I'm going to start at verse 7. All right, it says, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Now, who did this unto us? Who is the main enemy that hated us? All right, matter of fact, this is Obadiah 1 and 10. Well, matter of fact, I'm going to get it somewhere else. I can read that one too. This is Obadiah 1 and 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. This is the shame that's covering them now. Let me go to, let me see, what is it, oh, no. Can't think of what verse it is. This is Ezekiel 35 and 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. All right, for that violence against thy brother, and because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. All right, so let me get back to Deuteronomy chapter 30 and 7. All right, all these curses are falling upon them because why? These are the same people that was persecuting us. These are the same people that hated us, had the perpetual hatred for us, all right? That was continuously slaying us. Now shame is starting to cover them, all right? So we're going to go from there to the book of Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to read through the scriptures of the things that happen unto us that you are now seeing unto them. Deuteronomy 28, I'm going to start at verse 15. I'm going to read down quite a bit, all right? It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power to observe to do all the commandments and the statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. This was being spoken into the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Now, we're under these curses right now, but the tables are turning, as we just read in Deuteronomy 30 and 7. All these curses are now falling upon our enemies, starting with Esau, Edom. Verse 16, cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Look at them now. They can't, you know, in the inner cities, they can't find their damn jobs. In these corporate America, whatever, whatnot, these businesses are closing down and everything like that. Also, the farmers. There's a high suicide rate amongst farmers and things like that. The crops ain't yielding like they used to yield. All the so-called natural disasters are coming upon this here place, which is the Lord sending these plagues among Babylon, which is destroying their crops. All right. Then Monsanto with the seeds and things like that. The trade wars going on. All right. China, I believe China and Mexico was the biggest buyers of pork from America. After the tariffs and the things like that, China was like, we ain't buying y'all pork no more. All right. Verse 17, curse shall be thy basket in thy store. Business failures. Curse shall be the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy corn, and the flock of thy sheep. So again, like your business and the shit that you got going on is all going to be cursed. Just like you see Jake, man. Jake be cursed from his house. Always living in a raggedy ass house. They might have a house, but guess what? It's going to have a leaky roof, busted pipes, no AC or something wrong with here, something wrong there. All right. Or the things like back in the old days, like you have cattle and things like that, which is your resources and stuff like that. All right. Back in those days, like I said, you're using cattle and animals and stuff like that, but they starting to die off. So you're not bringing in that income like that. The jobs are slowing up here for Jake, or they've been slowed up here for Jake. Last hired, first fired, things like that. All right. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thou be when thou goest out. Hey, so guess what? Hey, now when they being born, you know, like when Jake was being born, abortions was killing us off a whole lot. All right. We was being born as so-called crack babies. All right, we was born into poverty. We was born into projects and the slums and all these things. But guess what? A lot of these Edomites now, first of all, they're not even having babies. Second of all, if they do have babies, a lot of the times the parents are already strung out on drugs. So now the babies are being strung out on drugs or having withdrawals from the drugs. All right, a lot of these Edomites are working in as doctors. All right, but still doing Uber at night. And then after they done Uber, they going back to the damn hospital, to the hospital parking lot and sleeping in their damn car. All right. So this is what's going on with them, man. They cursed all the way out. All right. Now, and also cursed when they leave out this world. Like we were just watching those women up there. All right. They had to witness not only their husband, their sons, their brothers, and all the other men around them starting to commit suicide, leaving these women there. So what? They just stuck around like, damn, man, they cursed when they leaving the earth. They're not just dying of old age. They committing suicide, dying early off from liver failure, kidney failure, heart diseases, all these different things coming upon them, man. All right. And a lot of these statistics are aimed at what? Middle-aged white men. All right. Verse 20, the Lord Yahweh shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all thou settest thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doing, whereby thou hast forsaken me. Now, what is the wickedness that Esau's been doing? Rape, robbery, and murder, and killing everybody, stealing everything, and changing up everything. So now, what is the spirit that's going forth throughout the earth? Oh, that's the so-called white man. He the devil. We ain't dealing with him. You know, it's a shame now to be called a so-called white man now. They don't even want to be called that. He's talking to them now. I'm part Native American. I'm not white. I'm not this. You even hear so-called white people say that they hate white people. You see, this is why a lot of their women are coming over. They're like, nah, we don't want no so-called white man. Even some white men, like, I can't stand them. You see what I'm saying? You go on YouTube, you see all kind of Edomites exposing their own people, how bad they hate their own self, all right? This was just cursing and vexation and rebuke that's going out. Everybody calling them the damn devil, the thief, the liar, and so on and so forth. But that used to be us. These are some niggas. These are the criminals. These are super predators. But now look at all the mass shootings and things like that. Beforehand, they was calling the Arabs the terrorists. But look, over 250 shootings this year alone in America, man. Who is the number one terrorist on the planet Earth? It's obvious. It's apparent. These curses are falling upon Esau, Edom. Verse 22, the Yahweh shall smite thee with the consumption and with fever and with inflammation and with extreme burning and with the sword and with the blasting and with the mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Again, you got to raise a rise of these STDs and just other diseases, all kind of the black plague, bubonic plague, all these different shits is coming back. Majority of them killing they ass, you know. A lot of these diseases is affecting them. Now, they be hitting us with the vaccines and shit like that, but a lot of these diseases is just coming up is on them. I remember I was looking at this one video where it was like in this one town, all these middle-aged so-called white women was getting sick from just drinking regular tap water. But everybody else was drinking the tap water and was fine. It was just these middle-aged white women. They was dying off of the shit, right? Verse 23, and the heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is underneath thee shall be iron. Donald Trump trying to make America great again, because why? Beforehand, y'all so-called had this land that was so-called a land of milk and honey. Everything was flowing. Everything was good. Everything y'all put y'all hand to turned to gold. Everybody wanted to come here to America to make money. But now everybody's trying to ditch the American dollar to get away from this shit. It was like, nah, fuck that. That shit is dried up over there, bro. You gonna invest your money into a business that's failing? Why would I want to do that? All right. Verse 24. Yahweh shall make the rain of thy land powder, and dust from heaven shall come down upon thee until thou beest destroyed. So what? Back in the old days, you had crops, you was farming, right? But if it was a drought and it wasn't raining, your crops was going to wither. You're not going to eat. You're not going to make no money. What do you think is going on here in America? Again, let's make America great again, because the grinding is low here. All right, the jobs are slowing up here. These investments, they can't borrow no more money. Their fool system with their money, the monetary fool system is being exposed. So they can't really keep doing the tricks that they trying to do no more. All right. Verse 25, Yahweh shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them. Thou shalt be removed into all kingdoms of the earth. That hasn't completely happened, but look, back in the olden days, man, Esau used to stick the police dogs on us, the police, whatever, whatnot. They could just call the police on us, and that was it for us. You know, you still see it happen to this day. But nowadays, you seen Esau getting up. There was a video where Esau got up in Jake's face, said, I'm a fucking, or I'm a effing K, well, you know, I'm a put you to death, basically. You know, I don't want to say certain things. They flagged the video. They said that shit. Jake was like, you gonna do what to who? Jake about choked his ass out, and homeboy over here looking at him in shock. Like, what the fuck just happened? He was so shocked that Jake would lash out at his ass like that, man. This is why you seen a lot of these goddamn little kids on the internet talking all this big shit behind their little avatars, but they don't want to see Jake one-on-one, man. You can go on WorldStar, YouTube, all these places, and seeing Jake just handling it to Esau. I remember seeing a Jake that was kind of built, you know, like the brother brother Malcolm out there in Chicago. What is it? GMS Maccabean. Can't think of his YouTube handle, but nevertheless, you know the brother Malcolm out there be doing them good videos, man. Hey, shout out to that brother out there and all the brothers pushing the work. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? There was a guy that looked like him in a video, you know, he was kind of big, you know what I'm saying? And I know that the brother Malcolm would be, I believe, be training and probably some kind of martial arts, I believe. But nevertheless, this other Jake, you know what I'm saying, in this video was kind of big and swole or whatever, whatnot, had a beer in his hand. Esau come around the corner trying to tell him what he gonna do and what he not gonna do. Jake be like, man, bring your ass over here. Get in my face again. Say, you gonna do what? Esau getting all loud with him, shouting and screaming, puffing his chest up. Jake still over there with his beer, all cool. Ain't even broke a sweat yet, you know what I'm saying? Still looking fresh and fly, right? All of a sudden, Esau tried to get up in his face. Jake hit him with that one-hitter quitter. Bow, knocked his ass out. Didn't even spill a drop of his drink. Like, bro, I ain't even got to put my drink down. Imagine if I put my drink down and hit your ass up with two hands. You ain't got no power against us. You see what I'm saying? Back in the old days, you see Jake on the block selling dope or whatever, whatnot. The police come around the block. Everybody scattered like roaches. Nowadays, Jake be like, come on, bring y'all ass over here if y'all want to. Y'all see what happened when, I don't think it was Trayvon, Michael Brown, I think it was, where they had those riots out there, all right, where Jake was like out there tearing up the police cars or whatever, whatnot. The police was like, you know what, y'all can have that shit. We not really trying to, hey, y'all can have that shit. We straight, you know what I'm saying? And you see it happening all day long, man. Esau trying to get all big and, you know, all big and puffed up or whatever, whatnot. You niggers and whatever, whatnot. And they start popping off at the mouth. And Jake don't even respond. Jake just hit him with that 1-2 piece. Night, night, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Go night, night. You know what I'm saying? Night, night time. Hey, but just continuing on, because this, hey, I find this is it's a blessing, you know, like I said, like the comment said, like, I might not be able to see this, but look, blessed are the eyes to see the things that you see, man. These things are happening right here, right now, and the beautiful part about it is you ain't got to touch these motherfuckers, man. You ain't even got to lift up a hand for this, you know, the men of the Lord out here, this is our fight right now. We pushing out these prophecies that's going to happen, and the Lord is bringing them to come to pass. All we got to do is sit back and watch, you know what I'm saying, enjoy the show. All right, verse 26, thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air and unto the beasts on the earth, and no man shall fray them away. All right, and again, some of these curses hadn't quite taken place yet, but we know this place is going to be turned to the lake of fire, man. All right, and in Jacob's trouble, man, there's going to be bodies everywhere, man. Jake going to wind up running through these Edomites, man. All right. Yahweh shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt and with the emerods and with the scab and with the itch whereof thou canst be healed. And look, we starting to see all the plagues that happened in Egypt starting to fall upon Babylon the Great, all right? And it started to overtake this place, man. The firstborns was killed off over there in Egypt, all right? Now, the mortality rate of these children being born or the mothers are dying off a whole lot. Over here in America, dealing with these Edomites, they can't really have babies. Their reproductive rate is pretty much at 0%, where they're paying people to come over here. So what? This is akin to back in Egypt when the firstborns, you know, well, the same plague that the Lord brought upon Egypt, where the firstborns was put to death. But then also, you know, like back in Egypt and things that was going on back there, they basically implemented Planned Parenthood or abortions. All right, like that's why Moses had the story that Moses had, and they also did it again when Yahweh was on the scene. This is why they fled into Egypt. All right, but then modern days times, you had Bill Gates' father, who basically came up with all this stuff. All right, Margaret Sanger is the one who pushed it out. They was pushing abortions on us, but now look, we don't even have to come up with no kind of divisive device to goddamn make them kill off, they murder their babies in their wounds. The Most High is closing up their wounds spiritually. You see what I'm saying? We didn't have to go together and have some kind of Illuminati meeting, some secret society meeting, say, look, we're going to plan off this and get they Edomite women to take these here pills so they stop having babies. Nah, guess what? The Lord is doing all of this, all right? These curses are being put upon you, all right? Yahweh shall smite thee with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind grope at the darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. Thou shalt only be oppressed, spoiled evermore. No man shall save thee. This is what happened to us. We always, from sun up to sundown, we wake up in the morning, fuck, we got to go to this job again. Bro, I can't wait to get off work. But then you live in harsh environments and things like that where you might be fearing your life overnight, whether a stray bullet come through your window or not. Or, you know, back in the day, the clans might come in your house, firebomb your house. Esau might just run up in your house. You might not never know what happened. But now this is what's going on with Esau. Esau scared of his own children coming through the house and blowing them all up because you took away Tommy little Tommy skateboard and shit. He'd be like, fuck you, Mom. I want my PlayStation back, Mom. I'm going, you know, and they want to, you know, putting everybody to death in the household. You see what I'm saying? Because they're afraid of their own damn children going to school and things like that. Most people who was afraid of their kids getting shot at school is these Edomites, because that's predominantly where it be happening at. You see what I'm saying? Verse 30, thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. So going into what they betrothing a wife and another man laying with her. All right, Esau was taking our wives and slavery and popping our wives and so on and so forth, raping our women and so on and so forth. Now look at how the tables are turning now. A lot of these women nowadays, and it's kind of funny that the Lord has kind of put the spirit on these Edomite women, preparing them to serve us. That's why you see them getting a little thicker and shit like that, getting a little curves and shit like that. They're getting a little bit of that, not to say a Jake spirit, but, you know, they starting to like shit that Jake like, you know what I'm saying? They not like Becky back in the day, you know what I'm saying? This is like Bequisha, you know what I'm saying? She the new Bequisha. You seen these Edomite out there trying to twerk and everything like that, so on and so forth. You know, they trying to act like Miley Cyrus and stuff right now. They not trying to be like Celine Dion back in the day. They trying to be more like Miley Cyrus. You see what I'm saying? Or if not even that, like I said, these Edomite women are just going for Jake men. Go back to Dylan Roof. He wound up going and shooting up that church because he said we were raping their women, taking their jobs and things. We're not raping your women. Your women are flocking unto us. All right, because they see that we got power, man. All right, we in the lowest state, but we still out here flossing on y'all. We still doing good. We not as weak as y'all where y'all lose y'all job and y'all go and commit suicide, bro. We'd lose our job. We'd be like, man, fuck that goddamn job. There was some bullshit ass Edomites anyway out there. I'm gonna go get me another job down the block working with Ray Ray and shit. He finna plug me in anyway. We all good. You know what I'm saying? It says, thou shalt plant a vineyard, or it says, thou shalt build a house and thou shalt not dwell therein. Now, we built up here in America for them, all right? And also, they the ones gathering all these different resources up and everything like that and so on and so forth. But guess what? Ultimately, when they're about to implement their New World Order fully and everything like that, they're going to spew up everything that they wound up laboring for. The kingdom is going to go into the hand of Israel. So look, they laboring for all this to have this perfect society and everything like that, but they're not going to attain that. Jake is, all right? But then also at the same time, they also complain about this. Oh man, these illegal immigrants are taking our jobs, they're taking over this, they're taking over our neighborhoods and so on and so forth. You got Jake moving up into the so-called white people neighborhoods and so on and so forth. There goes the neighborhood. That's where they get white flight from. All right, so what? This is what's going on. Back in the days, Esau was actually moving into Jake neighborhoods, kicking them out. Like I believe George Bush went to Compton High. Think about that. You know, I'm from the streets of Compton, out there in the hood, but I believe George Bush went to Compton High. All right, then they started moving, well, Jake was actually over there. Then they moved Esau in over there. Then they moved Jake back in over there, and that's what you see today. All right, the same way like in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, Bankhead, way back in the day, used to be the Edomite side of town. All right, then, like this was before I was even born. Used to be Edomite side of town, then it became Jake's side of town. But guess what? When you go over there now, everything is all boarded the fuck up. All the houses say no trespassing. They basically moving Jake out of those neighborhoods, and guess who buying up all that stuff, man? All right, if you downtown and you go to like the Bankhead down, what is that, Marietta Street? Because Marietta Street will take you right into Bankhead, right? Now, if you go from Marietta Street from downtown, you start seeing all those new condos they building up right there. I think that there's a condo build. I think it's called Marietta Street 626 or something like that. Marietta something. But it's all these nice new expensive condos. Jake can't afford to live there. All right, and then they starting to extend further and further down in the Bankhead because basically you just take that road right there in the Bankhead. You be there in not even 5 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So what? All of that is becoming Edomite territory. They over there moving us out of those neighborhoods and they moving into those neighborhoods, all right? Just like in Harlem. Harlem, like, yo, cuz, I'm from Harlem. I'm out here from so on and so forth. But nowadays you say you from Harlem or from Brooklyn, all right? You know, Brooklyn, wait a minute, this is where the Edomites live. This is the upscale. Like, upscale? What you mean, Brooklyn? Not Brooklyn. That's, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. That's the home of Biggie. But like, nah, this is going to be the home of these Edomites soon. Because why? They moving into our neighborhoods. But nevertheless, they building up these here houses. But ultimately, they're not going to live into these houses. They built up this whole planet Earth to have dominion over the whole Earth. But they're not going to be dwelling in that seat. Jacob is. Verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thy eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thy ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face. Thou shalt not be restored of thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thy enemies. Thou shalt have none to rescue him. Again, these are your resources back in the days, but now look what's going into them. They getting caught with these college scandals and things like that. They getting all these accolades taken away from them. All these major corporations that profited off of slavery, they having to come down and be like, you know what, we actually got our whole start and everything we got is based off of y'all slavery and y'all oppression. All these big names, they used to be known to be, this is the infamous Wells Fargo, the infamous so on and so forth. But then now they coming out with their real history, where they come from. It's like, oh shit, this is where these people coming from. So really, their resources is all being tainted now because of, it's like, yo, this is the truth of all y'all shit. So all that so-called pride or how do they call it, where you have prestige that you had with your stuff, it's all going away because it's all cankered, it's all rusted, it's all fake. All right. Verse 32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given into another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with all the longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. So ultimately, this is going to take place when we have them in the captivity. But you can see this happening right now. All right. They'll tell you that really hip hop is a thing that's, in a carnal sense, hip-hop and rap is this thing that's kind of running the world right now based off of America running everything else, all right? But hip-hop is the thing that's really running the world. Now, when you think about it, it kind of is. So, I be telling people, like, listen, you ain't never really seen no Rolls Royce commercial, no Rolex commercial. You might have seen a Rolex commercial, but you ain't really seen a Rolls Royce commercial, no Gucci commercial, no Louis Vuitton commercial, none of that shit, right? Who the fuck is advertising that? Jake in their hip-hop videos. This is how you know about all that shit, man. This is how you know that Rolls Royce came out with a new Rolls Royce truck. Lamborghini got a new Lamborghini SUV and shit because you see it in the rap videos, right? Now, statistically, when you talk to these hip-hop artists and stuff like this, the reason they make this little dumbed-down music is because the people they make music for is the young teenage children. Mainly, it used to be the young teenage females, all right? But now it's the young teenage Edomite females, all right? Now, the reason they break it down like this is because really, you're not going to really have men groupies, right? Men, they're like, yeah, I like this dude, I like this song, whatever, whatnot. But, like, for instance, you might have some men that like Drake, right? But how many men is going to really just go, just them and their homeboys, bro, we're going to go get some tickets to go to the Drake concert? Not very many. Mainly, the people that's going to be out in the Drake concert is going to be women. Even Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? You might like a Lil Wayne or whatever, whatnot. Jay-Z. You know, a lot of guys like these type of rappers or whatever, whatnot, but they not paying no money to go see them in concert. It's mainly women that's going to go do that. And really, Jake ain't got that kind of money to go do that. If they do, they pulling it together. But mainly, the Edomites, all right, in these other nations. So you got hip-hop and rap being an influencer around the whole earth. You got these Edomite kids. You got a lot of these little Edomite rappers coming out now, too. You know what I'm saying? They think they live in this so-called fake thug life or whatever, whatnot. But what is this really doing today, people? Same thing it did to us, is destroying us. So what? These Edomites is growing up looking like Donald Trump's or whatever, whatnot, man. You know, little Barron Trump, his son, probably be sitting over there listening to some Gucci Man and shit, talking some my same old crack pot. You know what I'm saying? Singing some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, bro? You way higher than this. You listen to some music that's dumbing you down and shit. With a skirt and a skirt. That type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is y'all? Well, I'd be like, what the fuck is y'all listening to? But nevertheless, when you think about it, who's the statistics of buying this shit, it's their children. So what? Now this music is really destroying the Cardi B's and shit. You got a whole lot more of these Edomites trying to be like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj than Jake women. All right? So this is destroying their ass. So now they got to come home and see their children and shit coming home. Their little sons sagging their pants and shit. Talking to dad, nah, nigga, you tripping. Whatever, pops. I'm going out here with my homies and shit, cuz. Or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And these Edomite chicks coming home with their little leggings on, trying to twerk and shit, getting tatted up with the long curly nails, the big hoop earrings, body tats all over themselves all day long, cornrows in their head. You know what I'm saying? What's that girl name? Whoa, Vicky and there's that other little bitch. Like, Catch Me Outside or whatever, whatnot. That little girl. You see what I'm saying? Their children is being given into the hand of another people. We up under them right now. But how come y'all children is looking to us for guidance? They looking at our hip-hop stars and they following after they stupid-ass trends. You know what I'm saying? You got these Edomite kids drinking lean and shit. All right? Verse 33, the fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed always. So they talk about like, yo, man, we're paying out all these taxes for these illegal immigrants or whatever, whatnot, and our you know, they don't have insurance and the taxpayers got to pay for this or whatever, whatnot, or having to pay back, you know, so-called lawsuits to this, and that. All these different things, they was making all this here money off of their businesses and their companies. Now they having to pay Jake equal wages. They having to pay Jake for their actual labors and stuff like that. They can't keep screwing Jake over with these things, all right? They over here underpaying Jake for a lot of this work. Now they have to actually pay them correctly, all right? So like with the illegal immigrants, they be like, well, really when you get to the problem with the illegal immigrants, you got to go to, you know, it's a supply and demand. The business owners who want this cheap labor keeps hiring in the illegal immigrants for cheap labor. If they was to pay a competitive price, you Edomites wouldn't be losing your job. You're not really losing your job picking goddamn tomatoes and strawberries, bro. I'm telling you, because y'all Edomites, we out here with all the farms, and I don't ever see no Edomites out there at all. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? This is what's going on out here, man. A lot of their stuff and their labor is going back. Hey, they having to pay and support Jake now, all right? Verse 34, so thou shalt be mad for the sight of thy eyes which thou shalt see. Hey, and that's what's going on right now. That's why they having the death by despair and these suicides, because they seeing that my kingdom is coming to an end. I can't provide for my wife, my family. I'm dropping down on the totem pole. Even though, you know, I ain't got no job, I can't provide for my wife and my kids, I still got way more money. I got about $2 million in my 401k, about $700,000 in my savings account, and about $300,000 in my checking account. You know what I'm saying? And my assets is worth, I got maybe about $4 or $5 million in assets. I'm like, motherfucker, you good. What you worried about? Why didn't you been retired? Jake be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was a statistic that said that if you got, I believe, what is $20 in your pocket, all right, for Jake, you are in the like top 1% of Jake, basically, because, you know, the top 1% don't even got $20 in their pocket, man, let alone in savings. If you got, I think it was like $300 in savings, you are getting in the top 1% of Jake and they savings, because the majority of, a lot of Jake don't even have bank accounts. You see what I'm saying? So what? They got all this here money and they so-called falling on hard times, and yet they still over here killing themselves off for this, man. Jake be like, shit, we got to go hit the amps, got to get this here bill paid. They over here trying, hey, look, Jake will sit there and take a $20 bill and split that bitch up in 6 different ways. We're going to get some groceries, some food. We're going to go get us something to drink. They might go get them some damn, some drugs, some, like, something to smoke. You know what I'm saying? And they might go rent them a movie or some shit like that. That $20 got us through this whole weekend. We good. Put $5 on gas. You know, you see Jake at the gas pump putting $2 in there, making that $20 stretch, bro. We're going to go get $3 on some ramen noodles. That'll get us through the next 4 or 5 days. Go get some boiled eggs, throw that shit in there with that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go put $2 on pump 4. You know what I'm saying? We're going to all carpool or whatever, whatnot. And we're going to make it like that, bro. We're going to keep it moving. Verse 35, Yahweh shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with the sore botch that cannot be healed from the sole of thy foot to the top of thy head. Hey, there's a lot of these bodily ailments coming down to these Edomites, especially like flesh-eating diseases and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They getting caught up with all these plagues. Verse 36, Yahweh, well, let me skip that one. Because hey, when they still going into captivity, we can read that. Yahweh shall bring thee in thy king, which thou shall set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. Well, they're not going to be serving wood and stone, you know what I'm saying? But they don't know us as far as being superior to them, especially they don't view us like that in this way. But ultimately, like in the book of Isaiah 60, say, look, we're going to be bringing their sons and their daughters and their kings in the fetters of iron. They're going to be our slaves and build up our city. All right. Verse 37, thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, a byword among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead thee. Now, the definition of white is something pure, clean, holy, and all these things, and black is death, destruction, and all these bad things, right? However, now it's being a byword, an astonishment, a proverb to be called a so-called white man now. You see what I'm saying? Thou shalt carry out much seed into the field, thou shalt gather but in little, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant a vineyard and dress them, but thou shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worm shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coast, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thy olive shall cast its fruits. A lot of their exports, like I said, they used to be their Mexico and China used to be their number one buyers of their pork, but now a lot of this meat and produce and vegetables is sitting on the shelves because ain't nobody is buying them. Second of all, the Lord is bringing these plagues upon the land, which you call natural disasters, and destroying their fields. Monsanto's is raising up the price of these seeds and certain things in the form of farming, making it harder for them. So these farmers are really catching it hard as well too. All right. Verse 41, thou shalt beget sons and daughters, thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Like I said, Isaiah 60. All the trees and the fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And that's where we at now. We at the bottom and they at the top. But guess what? Jake is coming up and they going down. All right. Verse 44, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be healed, and he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And we slowly seeing this in a carnal sense. Like, look, the NFL used to make all this money. Jay-Z put in a song like, you need me, I don't need you. You know, we in stadiums, we in Super Bowls too, or some shit to that effect. You know what I'm saying? But now you see him working deals with the NFL to do what? To bring that attraction back to the NFL. They need Jake to be buying into the NFL to be watching that shit so they can make money off of that. So what? They need us, you know what I'm saying? They need us to lend to them our wits, our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of how to do certain things just so they can get some money. Ultimately, in the end, they're going to be coming to us for the wants of all needs, all right? I'm going to read this and we're going to close out. Verse 45 and 6, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee, and they should be upon thee for a sign and a warning upon thy seed forever. Really, they weren't going to keep the law, statutes, commandments regardless, all right? This was their position anyway, to be the wicked, all right? But the Lord said he was going to bring these curses upon them. So look, all these curses are going to come upon them, pursue them to overtake them and destroy them, all right? It's going to be upon them and their seeds forever. All right, because we know they're going to serve, 1,000 years of captivity, and then they're going to basically be eradicated. They're going to be exterminated. So what? From here on out, it's going to basically, it's a bad thing to be an Edomite, man. The curses are already falling upon them now. They can't escape this. You know what I'm saying? Back in the olden days, so-called white man could have AIDS. His mama just died of cancer. Kids all held hostage. He lost his job. all kind of fuck shit happening. He could be like, you know what? I'm still white. That count for something. And you know what? You right about that. You know what I'm saying? Even the homeless. Chris Rock had a joke. He said, man, it's different, man, being white versus black, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and he did a little survey to show the truth. He's like, there's not one white man on the planet Earth that would trade places with me. Not even a bum, not even a homeless person that would want to trade places with me. And he was like, and I'm rich. And I'm like, you're right. Because even though you rich, he also tell jokes about how he be being pulled over in his regular car in his neighborhood. They're like, surely you can't live over here. He being harassed, even though he make all his money legally. A lot of people know him, whatever, whatnot. But then you have a homeless Edomite walking around in a so-called affluent neighborhood or whatever, whatnot, or just being, living in his car in somebody's neighborhood. They got a video of that. Some Edomite pulled up in somebody's neighborhood in front of their house, sleeping in the back of the bed of his truck. If Jake was doing that, they'd be surrounding his damn car with guns and be them blasted. In fact, that's what happened to Jake. Jake was traveling somewhere, and he wound up going to sleep in his car. The car was still running with the AC on, but he was in there knocked out, no tints on the window. So for his own protection, he kept his gun on his lap. So I guess if somebody was to break a window, try to break into his car, he would hear that. The gun would already be on his lap, or somebody could visually see it and deter him from doing that. Had him scared so much that the Edomites were scared to open the door because they know it would be quick enough for him to grab the gun, right? These Edomites wound up shooting Jake while he was still asleep. He never even woke up. They wound up shooting him while he was still asleep because they was like, well, he's in his car's running, his foot is on the brake, and he could just let off the gas and just run us over. Like, bro, it's sleeping. You're not sleeping with your foot on the damn brake like that. You know what I'm saying? And plus, you see the car's in park. The gun is on his lap. He knocked out. He not a threat to nobody. Y'all just rolled up on his ass. You see what I'm saying? Because somebody called the police because they was concerned about somebody just in the car like that. They didn't know if he was dead or not. You know what I'm saying? But Jake happened to be traveling and just pulled off to the side of the road to sleep in the car while he was traveling so he wouldn't be unsafe on the road. They wound up killing him, right? Now, this was the time where I believe this was a rapper who wound up getting shot. And this happened like the same day that another rapper, Nipsey Hussle, got shot. His case came out and they wound up acquitting the police the same day that Nipsey Hussle got shot. So it was buried under that. So this was a Jake who wound up was being killed while traveling, who decided to pull over to get some rest into a parking lot, right? But you got these Edomites living in their cars that just go roll up into these other Edomite neighborhoods, white people neighborhoods, rich white people neighborhoods, and live in the back of their pickup truck. You know what I'm saying? Just go to sleep. And they be like, well, we don't know this person outside of our house. They've been out here all night. They don't call the police. Or if they do call the police, they're like, oh, he's just in his car sleeping. Just leave him alone. He'll be gone by the morning. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, this is just, I want to bring this here out to go into that video or that comment that was left on the video. Yo, the Lord is already bringing these curses down upon them right now. We in the midst of this right here, right now, man. You can see all these things happening, man. You just got to watch the news and see what's going on, man. All right, so Lord willing, he was edified with this here lesson. Lord willing, like I said, the elect was edified with this here lesson as well. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong and shalom.